Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of American Soccer Quick Kicks. I wanted to jump on tonight and give you my reaction to the results of the Nations League final. I think I said last time that my next video would be my reaction to the Greg Berhalter hire. I'm going to save that for next time because I am just riding high on our performance against Canada in the final. I hope you watched it. It was another complete performance. I mean, our optimism and should be at an all-time high right now after this particular window. These two matches from the U.S., we look so good. I think this is an example. This what we showed against Canada and also against Mexico is U.S. soccer at its absolute best right now. Like, this is our current ceiling. This was us playing at our best for now. I mean, you can't ask for anything more. Two complete performances. It was a lot of fun to watch. We did win 2-0. We're Nations League champions for the second time, and I think everybody had a great game. I don't know who I can point to and say they should have done better. I can't think of a single person. I have to give a lot of credit right now to BJ Callahan. He came as an interim coach. He's never had any coaching experience before, and now he's got a roster of this kind of star power on it, playing in an international tournament, and he comes away with the trophy. I think he got a lot of things right. I was very pleasantly surprised to see that without being able to play Weston McKennie, he puts in Brendan Aronson. This is fantastic. So we actually, usually on that right wing spot, we have Reyna, Weah, and Aronson all wanting time in that spot, and we just can't play them all. We wish we could. In this case, we had them all on the field at once. Pulisic on the left, we had Weah on the right, we had Reyna and Aronson on the midfield, and we had Folarin Balogun playing at striker. All these guys were on the field at the same time. And obviously Balogun's brand new, but whoever you want to put in that spot, the other four we've never had. I should say the other four we've never had on the field all at the same time. And I love seeing that. That was a lot of fun. I love Aronson too. I feel like he's the guy getting squeezed out from all the other guys we have on our roster. But to be able to get Reyna and Aronson in the midfield, and then Musa was playing deep as a single pivot, and I thought he did a great job. He was also really good at if the ball came to him in the defensive third, he would just keep it. He would shuttle it forward and just carry it into the offensive phase of the game for us. Because he's hard to get off the ball, and I thought he did a great job with that. Jedi Robinson stood out at left back. He was multiple times he was just the weak side defender and just stayed alert and stayed awake and was able to have some critical moments. We did have a surprise start at center back with Walker Zimmerman because Miles Robinson had picked up an injury. Joe Scally was the guy who played in place of Serginho Dest, and I said keep an eye on him, and I don't know how we're going to defend Davies and all that kind of stuff. Scally, I mean, you got to give the guy credit. I mean, he played fantastic. He did not venture forward as much as Dest would, of course, nobody does, but he stayed back and he neutralized Davies. And really, we had very few dangerous moments from Alphonso Davies, except until the last 15, 20 minutes of the match when we had gone into a defensive shell and Canada had all the possession, just that final phase of the match. But before then, Davies wasn't really a threat, and you have to give so much credit to Joe Scally. Of course, going back to giving credit to BJ Callahan, a part of that game plan was when Scally had Davies, was covering Davies out wide on that side, Aronson was coming over. So always a lot of help from Brendan Aronson there. And another part of the game plan that I saw, and again, I think we have to credit Callahan, is okay. So we've got Musa out of his natural position at single pivot, number 6, defensive midfield, and you've got Aronson and Reyna, who are both attack-minded guys. We don't have our standard midfield of McKennie and Musa and Adams. Okay, so those three guys, that's a solid midfield that's going to provide defensive coverage and work the ball, build it up through the field, control the midfield. That's great, but we didn't have that option this time. So this time it was Reyna and Aronson in front of Musa. And with those guys added to Pulisic and Weah and Balogun, they just want the ball. They want to be on the move. They want to be pressing forward, attacking. So what do? The game plan involved just kind of bypassing midfield. There was a lot of long balls out of the back. We played the long ball more than we tried the build up, but these weren't just blind hopeful long balls. They were with intent. This was a part of the game plan. We just kind of bypassed the midfield as much as we could and got straight to that attacking phase with those huge names up front. And obviously, it worked really well. I want to give a shout out to Chris Richards, center back, who got his first goal ever for the U.S. team to open up the scoring of this game. He got a header off a corner delivered perfectly by Gio Reyna. So he gets an assist on that. Chris Richards is from Birmingham, Alabama, a place I called home for over 13 years. So I'm happy for him. And then the second goal, again, some beautiful team play to open up space. But then that final touch, that final pass from Reyna to slip Balogun in, it was just sublime. This was if you're someone who had to watch my earlier video on this channel about the offside rule and how it works, and you learned from that, and you heard me talk about the timing of a pass. I want to make sure that at the moment the ball's delivered, that you're not in front of that last defender. This is a great one to study because the timing on this was absolutely perfect. He was absolutely onside, but Reyna hits that ball. Now he's running up the field. He's in a crowd. It's very easy to overhit these balls. Soccer balls don't weigh a lot. It doesn't take a lot of strength to make a pass. But he had to slip that ball in with just enough weight on the pass that it got past the defenders, but it didn't get too far ahead of where Balogun could reach it. And if it gets too far ahead, the goalkeeper's going to jump on it, and the moment is over. But the timing of Balogun coming around that last defender and meeting up with that perfectly weighted pass from Reyna, and then Balogun finishes, and he finishes strong. Balogun had a fantastic game. We saw in this game the player we wanted to see and the player that's been hyped up. We didn't quite see it in that first match against Mexico, but this one he was lights out. I mean, I am excited. I understand the value that Tyler Adams has. A lot of people say he may be our most valuable player that we have. I understand the strength and stability and the control that you get with that Musa, McKinney, Adams midfield. But I got to tell you, having Reyna and Aronson in midfield with Pulisic and Weah on the wings, and then we got Balogun playing up top like this, that's a combination that I want to see more. I thought it was just absolutely a lot of fun. It was just a fun night. It's a fun night. It's a great time to be a fan of this team. We've got a great bunch of guys, extremely talented. They're playing with confidence, and they just ripped through the two other teams in CONCACAF that are supposedly at the top of the region with them. Won the two games by a total of 5-0, and just were in control for both matches at all times. We're looking very, 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 very strong. So congratulations for back-to-back Nations League champions. What's up next? What's up next is the Gold Cup. Gold Cup actually starts on Saturday. Now, I want to take the time. I want to gear down a little bit, okay? There's still some confusion about Nations League. It is still new enough that people maybe aren't familiar with what it is. Like, what are we talking about? Why are we excited? And if the Gold Cup is the CONCACAF Championship, and it's about to take place like right now, why are we playing Nations League, and what is it for? So I want to see if I can explain this a little bit. I've been over this once before. I have a video on this channel talks about the various competitions. You can go back and listen to that, but I'm going to see if I can break this down again. So let me explain. The Gold Cup is the premier event. It does determine the champion of CONCACAF. Okay, this is like our Euros or our Copa America. It's a CONCACAF only version of the World Cup. There are 41 member nations of CONCACAF. Only 16 make it into Gold Cup. So you have to qualify for the tournament. So it's not just it's not just open to everybody. You have to be good enough to qualify for the Gold Cup. And this year we've invited Qatar in. That was a deal that was set a couple years ago. So there's really only room for 15 CONCACAF nations in this year's Gold Cup. And so the way it's determined is through Nations League. Okay, it's the Nations League results that determine qualification for the Gold Cup. So the Gold Cup's definitely the premier event, and Nations League is the feeder tournament, basically the qualification tournament for it. To call it a tournament, though, is a little bit of a misnomer. It's more accurate to think of Nations League as a league, like a regular uh, league table. It just happens to involve national teams. And the league schedule is played in FIFA international windows. And so this is going to take up most of our, if not all of our friendly windows for here on out. So you're going to be hearing about Nations League every time the U.S. team is in camp, just about. You're going to hear it throughout the year. The next Nations League starts this fall and it will end a year from now. And it's going to be like that every single year. This one coming up, though, is going to be even extra important because it will also determine who makes it into the 2024 Copa America. Okay, we've been invited to South America's version of the Gold Cup, Copa America. And so this coming up, the Nations League that starts in the fall, is going to be even more important. But how does Nations League work? Let me explain. There are actually three leagues in CONCACAF Nations League. There's League A, there's League B, there's League C. And so these are determined roughly by, it started off being determined by FIFA rankings, and now there's promotion relegation between these leagues every year. So what that will do is basically sort it out so that we have nations grouped with their competitive peers. And this is very important for the minnows of CONCACAF. So the issue was that a lot of these really small nations, they hardly ever play a full international schedule because they're just not good enough to qualify for tournaments. They always get eliminated very quickly. And this is an opportunity to guarantee that even the smallest CONCACAF nation gets to play a full international schedule throughout the calendar year. And this is very important for growing the game, and it's good for those countries. And that's where the real value of Nations League is. It doesn't help the countries like the United States that you can generally expect to stay in League A, as much as it helps those in League C. For that very reason, because those smaller nations are the ones that just need games on their schedule, and that's what Nations League provides them. And so, because of promotion, everybody's playing for promotion relegation, except for League A. They're playing for the trophy. Okay, so here's where it gets a little bit more confusing. Inside each league, and they're tiered, right? That's promotion relegation between A, B, and C. But inside the leagues are groups. So League A this time around had 12 nations in it. There were 4 groups of 3 nations each. And we had El Salvador and Grenada, which, if you recall, we played them, both of those countries, in a couple of different windows in the past year. That's why they were in our Nations League group. Okay, so there are 4 groups inside League A. The 4 group winners played in the semifinal tournament, which we just held. So United States, Mexico, Panama, Canada, they were the group winners inside League A. They played for the trophy. So the way it works out for Gold Cup, you look at League A, the top, the first and second finishers of each group, for a total of 8 nations, go to Gold Cup. Those third place finishers go into a Gold Cup qualification tournament, which is actually happening right now. We're in the midst of it right now. League B, instead of the first and second place finishers going, the first place finishers of League B, those 4 teams, they go to Gold Cup to join the 8 that automatically qualified out of League A. So that's 12 in the Gold Cup right there. And then the second place finishers in the groups of League B, they go to that qualification tournament. And in League C, nobody automatically qualifies for Gold Cup, but the group winners go to this qualification tournament. Does that make sense? So we have, because of the results in League A and League B, 12 CONCACAF teams are already in the Gold Cup. That includes the United States. That includes everybody who's in the semifinal round. And because Qatar's got a special spot this year, that leaves 3 slots still needing to be filled. So these other countries that I said were playing in this qualification tournament, it's going on right now, and the results of those matches will determine the final 3 spots inside Gold Cup. That's how it works. Nations League is a chance for smaller countries to have a full schedule. There is movement between the leagues, like with promotion relegation. League A is playing for the trophy. But where you finish determines if you go to Gold Cup, or at least gives you a chance to go to that pre-tournament. to try to fight for that last spot in Gold Cup. So that is why Gold Cup is the premier event. Okay, you have to qualify for it. Everybody plays in Nations League, but you have to qualify for Gold Cup. That's all true, but if you were trying to figure it out based on our roster selection, you wouldn't believe it, or you wouldn't get it right, because we just had our A squad play in Nations League, just like we did in 2021. These were our big boys, right? These are the guys who just dominated Mexico and Canada. They played in the World Cup, and they come away with the trophy. They are done. They are not going to be the squad that plays in Gold Cup. We're bringing in mostly a domestic-based roster. These are mostly MLS teams that are coming in to play in Gold Cup. So I've explained before that one reason we do that is that these guys that are on the A squad, they mostly play in Europe or in England, and we want to give them their bodies rest in the summertime. They're just coming out of their club season, and they've got some time off here in the summer, and we just want to go ahead and get them minutes together in games that count, and then let their bodies rest and let them get to preseason to their clubs and all that. And that's all true. What I'm trying to figure out right now is the nature of this window for the Gold Cup. I heard someone that I trust say that clubs are not obligated to release their players for the Gold Cup. So I tried to dig into that a little bit, and what I think I found was that this is basically a CONCACAF only window. Somebody tell me if I've got this wrong. So in other words, these European clubs, right, in the UEFA Federation, they're not obligated to release players for this CONCACAF window. And so they're not obligated to. Now, if coach makes a call and say, we want this guy to come in, they can still choose to let that player go if they want to, but they don't have to. But CONCACAF clubs are obligated to release. I'm trying to get confirmation on that. I don't know if that's right or not. I've never heard anything quite like that before. So if that's something that you know more about, please leave it in the comment and educate me. I want to know if that's it. Are we bringing in the big boys for the Nations League and giving them the Gold Cup off just to rest their bodies? Or are we kind of forced by the nature of this window to go with mostly an MLS-based roster for Gold Cup because the UEFA clubs are not letting our superstars come out? I don't know if that's right. I'm hearing that from reputable sources. I don't want to name them in case they're wrong. I'm putting it out there. That's at least one theory. Let me put it that way. If anybody can confirm or deny that for me, please let me know. But at the end of the day, we're going to play the Gold Cup with our B squad. And so that roster has been announced. You can go out there and find it. We do have a couple of people from the Nations League roster that are also going to be here. Matt Turner, the goalkeeper. Miles Robinson's listed on that roster, although he didn't play against Canada because he got hurt. So I don't know what his status is going to be. But anyway, that's the difference between Nations League and Gold Cup, and I hope that makes sense. I hope I cleared something up for you. The Gold Cup does get started this Saturday. They get started this Saturday, goes through something like July 16th. This is it's going to be a lot of fun. No, it's not our best roster, but it's still the United States national team, and I'm going to be tuning in. I hope you do too. I still, like I said before, I have a lot that I want to say about Greg Berhalter. I've got a lot of thoughts I want to work through, and I'm going to try to get to that this week. But anyway, we got the Gold Cup coming up. The summer of soccer is in full swing. I hope you're excited about what you saw from our guys, and we got more coming. We have Leagues Cup coming up for MLS and Liga MX. We have the Women's World Cup coming up in August. It's going to be jam-packed. I hope you'll watch some soccer with me, and I'll talk to you next time.